Well, alleged Russian spy Maria Butina is currently being held behind bars on conspiracy charges and acting as a foreign agent. She's accused of trying to gain access and to influence conservative political groups and politicians.
But her attorney claims she is simply a student with an interest in politics. A new article in the Washington Post details Maria Butina's time attending American University in Washington, D.C. With us now is Tom Hamburger, an investigative reporter with the Washington Post. He is one of the authors of that article. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks.
So this report that you and your colleagues did is really interesting. What did your reporting uncover about Maria Butina's life and what it was like when she was living in D.C. and attending AU?
Well, we talked to about a dozen people who ran into Maria at American University, where she was a graduate student in the School of International Service, and they described someone who was not subtle and not covert at all about her feelings about her homeland. She had on her cell phone a pasted picture of Vladimir Putin riding shirtless on horseback. She was a strong advocate for the Russian or the Kremlin position on the invasion of Crimea. And she was an outspoken advocate while she was in class and among her colleagues on sort of all things Russian, including arranging parties for fellow students, sometimes including vodka shots.
Yeah, and it seems like she sort of threw herself into life in D.C. She had a lot of friends that you were able to talk to. What's been their reaction?
So we've talked with a number of American University students and with some others affiliated with the university. Some were sort of became conscious early of this very outspoken advocacy of the Kremlin, and some eyebrows were raised at American University when, in 2017, former National Security Director Susan Rice got an office, an academic office, where she's working on a book at American University that was in the same suite of offices where Maria Butina had a job as a student worker. And some of these concerns were raised, but it's a university, you know, and people have strong views. They argue, they make the point, and American University is a place full of international students. So it didn't set off alarms immediately, but now there's a great deal of chatter about Maria Butina at AU and what she was up to.
And Tom, you write in the piece that she had brief encounters with Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker, with Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal, and of course candidate Donald Trump. But it's this meeting that she had with officials from the Treasury and Federal Reserve in 2015 that she's accused of doing, that's in this sort of charging document. How was she able to do that?
Well, so she had a wide array of contacts that she'd developed while in Washington, including some that allowed her access to Obama administration Treasury officials, as you just mentioned. The most surprising to us was that she won the confidence of officials in the National Rifle Association and some other conservative organizations, which allowed her access to, in 2015 and in 16, nearly all of the prominent Republican presidential candidates. She had positioned herself as a friendly ally, for example, of the National Rifle Association, and was allowed in the green room at Rifle Association events before candidates running for president, including Donald Trump, where they would gather before they spoke to the organization.
Did any of the people you talked to describe what her personality was like? Because you're, telling us about these incredible contacts after a pretty short period of time being in Washington. Was she particularly charming?
She was very outgoing. She had strong views. She also was able to invite people to parties and other events. And she was a networker who was, by all accounts, a person with very strong views, but also very appealing. And so, yes, she won people over, as we can see from both the meetings that she had with Obama administration officials and with Republican candidates running for president. She won people over across the political spectrum with a very gregarious nature, very outgoing, and very outspoken defense of her home country.
All right, Tom Hamburger of the Washington Post, thank you so much for sharing the details of your piece with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks.